Okay, it's 1 o'clock. We all here, we have, Mr. Rake, do we have Kim? Are you aboard? I don't hear anything from the heavens. Jewel Lee, is he? Jewel, good to see you. So we do not have a secretary minute taker present. Hmm? What did you find out there? We'll try to bring Kim in.
On it.
Can she come?
Can you hear us? Cool.
Yes?
I can hear you now.
There, I heard you. Hi, Kim, can you hear us?
Hello. Yes, I can hear you. Thank
Oh,
you.
Okay, very good. We'll get underway, and I might announce right off the start that Randy Graham has resigned from the Board of Public Works. Randy left IMI several weeks ago and is actually in the private retail business now here in Westfield. We want to wish him luck, and I acknowledge all his years of service here in the city of Westfield. So it is Jim Ake and I today, and I'll also take this time to announce that our third member will be former resident and new resident to Westfield, and that is Jack Russell. And Jack, as you know, was our director of our Chamber of Commerce, left there to become and still is the executive director of One Zone in Carmel and Westfield. Jack is now a Westfield resident once again and wants to serve, and Jack will be joining us in our next meeting. So Jewel, if you or one of your people would get with him, and I'll give you his information, bring him up to speed on duties, etc., I would appreciate it. So Kim, do you want to take a roll, please?
Mayor Cook,
Here?
Jim Ake,
Here.
we have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. We have our first item, minutes from May 26th of this year. Any questions on the minutes? Mr. Ake?
No, sir.
Okay, neither do I. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve minutes of May 26, 2021, as stated.
I will second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Number 2, and it looks like our engineer is ready to go on 169th and Spring Mill, part-time inspection.
Yeah, so as you know, we have a roundabout that'll be letting next month for 169th and Spring Mill. We are required to do construction inspection and follow some certain software that NDOT utilizes for that inspection when we have federal funding. We have contracted with United for some part-time inspection and some help with that site managers, the name of the software, to do daily log entries and testing for the inspection. We'll have a City of Westfield inspector out there full-time doing the day-to-day inspection, but United will be out there to provide assistance on some of the details with regards to the federal funding of this project. So the contract is for $99,200. It's very much in line with what we'd expect to pay for this type of help on the inspection. United has done a great job for us in the past. They were the inspector on the Monon Bridge over State Road 32 in a similar fashion as this. So I would ask that you approve this construction inspection contract for United Consulting.
Any questions?
No, sir.
I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve action item number 2, 169th Street and Spring Mill Road roundabout part-time inspection contract.
I would second that motion. Any further discussion?
No.
And this bid's July 10th?
July 8th, I think?
Okay,
10th, somewhere in there,
okay.
right after 4th of July.
And this is the beginning of the new fiscal year for the state, so this falls into the very first possible bid date. I think you've done a great job getting that ready. Thank you. Hopefully
Yep.
it'll come in where we want it to be, and construction would begin yet this year.
Yep, and we try to hit that first letting of the fiscal year. It gives us plenty of leeway if there are unexpected delays, but also it helps us be first in line for hopefully better bids from contractors.
Yes, good planning. Thank you. I will see, have we had the motion? We can take a vote then. I will ask for a vote on that. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, so please proceed. And number 3, another Cary Road project going on, huh?
Yeah,
Cary
so
and the Midland Trail.
in a very similar fashion to the previous contract you just approved, this is for inspection. We received some federal funding for a relatively small project. It's a pedestrian refuge of the Midland Trail at Cary Road. As you probably recognize, that roadway is rather wide. It's a long crossing for our trail users. So we are installing a refuge kind of in that center lane that exists today, so that pedestrians can cross one lane at a time and have plenty of space to stand in the middle of the road as needed with curbing and protective signage at that crossing. We received federal dollars. This will be constructed this year as well. We're on a September letting for this project. But given that United would be providing their services for 169th and Spring Mill, they went ahead and gave us a contract for $10,500 for similar inspection services for this smaller project in Westfield. It'll be the same person helping us with both projects, so we have some efficiencies there from that respect. Again, it's in line with what we'd expect to pay for this type of scope. So I would ask that you approve this contract for United Construction Inspection.
So this is another MPO 80/20 project?
It is, and this is actually HSIP dollars, which are safety dollars, that we received for this project. They sometimes have trouble spending that money, and so they're always looking for more safety projects, and we tried to come to the table and help them out to spend down some of that safety money.
Very good. And this bid's in, you said September?
September, correct.
Okay.
Still plenty of time. I mean, we're talking about just a couple of weeks of construction for this project, some curb work and that type of thing.
No
Pavement markings.
major utility issues we have to deal with?
Certainly hope not. None that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Glad you're helping them out. Maybe you can find some other ways to help them too.
I would entertain a motion on the Midland Trail, Cary Road.
Jim Ake, I make a motion to approve action item number 3, Cary Road, Midland Trace Trail Pedestrian Refuge, the part-time inspection contract.
I will second. Ask you if you have any other questions.
No, sir.
All right, let's take a vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? No opposition. Let's move on to Structure Point State Road 32 Professional Services Supplement Number 1.
Yeah, so there's been plenty of discussion on State Road 32 over the last couple of months in the community. As you recall, we are contracted with American Structure Point for design of State Road 32 and for the Jersey Street extension. That contract was approved back in 2018, if memory serves. And for that contract, we did the full scope for State Road 32. with the assumption of providing 3 alternatives as the environmental analysis. During the environmental process, we had a lot of public outreach and a lot of interested residents in the project who proposed some additional alternatives that we investigated. That was beyond the initial scope of Structure Point's environmental services. As I said, they assumed 3 with that initial contract. There were 4 additional alternatives that had to be analyzed as part of that environmental process. As a result, they are asking for a supplemental for this project. A couple things to note. The original contract was for $1.19 million. We had estimated in our initial cost estimations for the project $1.4 million for PE services. So we were successful in negotiating with Structure Point up front and reducing their initial contract down about $200,000. This supplemental, so that's point 1. Point 2 is that our original estimate for Jersey Street was $250,000. This supplemental would bring the PE cost to $1.4 million, a little over $1.4 million for State Road 32, and $261,000 for Jersey Street. So right around what our original estimates were back in 2018 for PE services. If you look at the overall difference, it is a rather substantial supplemental. It's a $541,000 additional request for this contract. But I think it's important to note that we did have some upfront cost savings with that negotiation. Secondly, the initial contract that we signed with American Structure Point was for just the preliminary design of Jersey Street. We didn't want to get too far into that design without having some environmental approvals in place for 32. So we always anticipated needing a supplemental to finish the design for Jersey Street, and this supplemental does that in a way that is in line with our estimates. So just a couple of other points where the supplemental request is coming from. Those 4 new alternatives that need to be analyzed also required traffic analysis. We went in front of the State Review Board three times and did get State Review Board approval in late May this year, but those State Review Board appearances were not in the original scope as well. And then additionally, there was some retaining wall design in conjunction with the avoidance of the Shuck property that was not contemplated in the original scope, as well as some additional right-of-way parcels because of that avoidance. So to kind of summarize where this is coming from, really it is born from the alternatives provided by our residents who were very active in this project. That incurred some additional scope for Structure Point. I have reviewed that scope. I believe that it is in line with what we would expect to pay. We don't like to do supplementals, obviously, but in this case, it is warranted, and they have provided man-hour justifications that, in my opinion, are in line with what we'd expect to pay for that work. So with that, I would ask that you accept or approve this supplemental, but I'd be happy to answer any specific questions you might have, as I do understand it is a rather large supplemental.
So to sum it up, these supplements are in response to public inquiries, will you look at this, will you look at that, which you have done.
Yep.
So the costs are within what you would expect in evaluation of those items.
That is fair to say, yes.
Very good. Any questions, Mr. Ray?
No questions.
I'd entertain a motion, please.
I make motion to approve action item number 4 as stated, American Structure Point, State Road 32, Professional Services Supplemental 1.
I will second. We'll call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I don't hear any. That item passes 2-0. And we'll move on to number 5, 161st Street drainage easement. You're going to tell us still more, John.
Absolutely. So
This is the one we've been waiting a while for.
it is.
Your high water signs are still up as we speak today.
Indeed. So we are working on fixing that. So we have, as you can see from the GIS, we do not have any existing right-of-way beyond essentially the edge of pavement or the prescriptive right-of-way of 161st Street on the north side. We contracted a USI who was also doing the design for our 161st and Oak roundabout just to the west of this project site to design a drainage improvement project on the north side of 161st Street and replace a failing culvert under 161st Street that drains that field on the north side. So USI has provided that drainage design. We are looking to construct that in the next couple of months. But because we don't have any right-of-way, we need some land rights from the property owner to do the project. That property owner has generously agreed to dedicate a drainage easement for the purposes of this project at no cost to the city. Unfortunately, I do not have the final documentation for that drainage easement ready for this Board of Public Works meeting, but I didn't want to wait a full month. So I'm asking for signing authority to sign at no cost to the city essentially a drainage easement that is gifted to the city at no cost. And again, just didn't want to wait for a month to go through the Board of Public Works to make that happen. Don't want to hold up the much-needed drainage project.
Yeah, we've been waiting a while, haven't we? So may I ask, who is the generous donor of an easement here?
It's actually 5 family members. I don't have all 5 names off
Okay.
the top of my head, but I can provide that information.
Yeah,
to
I'd
the
like to
board.
know that.
Sure.
Like to thank them for that.
Sure.
That is wonderful.
I-
Two other questions while we're in the area.
There you go.
What happened to all the pine trees?
Yeah, so that was actually a Duke Energy project.
I was hoping you would not say it was you.
It was not me. No, that is correct. We did not have any hand in that. Those pine trees, in Duke's mind at least, were conflicting with their overhead electric in the area. They took it upon themselves within their rights to remove those trees.
So I can give a little additional background on that. The property owner, I believe it's Mr.
Hunt?
Hunt. Duke came through, did their typical power line maintenance, and had a huge impact on not only the aesthetics of those trees, but there were a number that were dying off.
Yeah.
And naturally, he came to us assuming that it was our doing, and it certainly wasn't. So we advised him that if he contacted Duke, a lot of times Duke will take those trees down for them free of charge, so to offset future maintenance costs. So after he collected himself and listened, he contacted Duke, and then a few weeks later, Duke came in and removed the trees. I have had a couple inquiries about whether or not we are going to replace them, and clearly we do not have property rights to replace them, nor would we want to. But the homeowner, should they desire, could replace trees
Properly.
on
Under the
their
lines,
property.
yeah.
I
Okay.
don't foresee that happening, just because it would be a pretty substantial cost to recreate that, but they would be moved back away from the easement
Okay,
for the future.
good information. And the second question is the elusive trail on the south side of 161st Street. Any progress on that?
So I would say the first step is replacing this culvert under 161st Street as part of the drainage project. Additionally, we've done some coordination with Kent Ward's office for the dredging of that regulated drain. Once those things are taken care of, I think we can kind of re-engage on the trail discussion on the south side.
Yeah, and additionally, as you know, we're building our roundabout here. The roundabout will include pedestrian facilities at the intersection, which will extend to the limits of the project. We foresee there being development up on the property to the north where we're getting the easement in the very near future. As a part of that development, they will be required to build their perimeter trail, thus connecting from our roundabout to their property limits. So if you look at the map here, our easiest connection will be from here over to the roundabout once those pieces are in place. And then we have also taken lots of looks at this south side. There's some significant terrain and drainage concerns down there that we would have to contend with.
Yeah.
So the quickest application is going to be the north side, and we will continue to work on the south side. But there's a regulated drain that extends from Oak Park Court all the way through that we'll have to deal with in the future.
Okay, all right. Sorry to divert you so much from a pretty simple item of you asking for permission to sign an easement. So let's get back to that. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve action item number 5, 161st Street Drainage Easement Signing Authority.
Second. Ask for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. So we have next, number 6, Chatham Multifamily Road Impact Fee Agreement.
Yeah, so similarly, we didn't have the documentation in place for this Board of Public Works meeting, but we also didn't want to delay development for another month to get that paperwork in place. This is the multifamily project up in Chatham Hills. It's at the corner of 196th Street and the future Chad Hiddle Drive. So you can see some right-of-way dedication that was done with their secondary plat. It's that parcel and the parcel on the east. Yes, that's correct. And those apartments will generate road impact fees. By state law, we are required to offer an installation payment option. Historically, we have done that at 3% interest over 5 years. Those agreements typically run through the Board of Public Works, but we needed to have that in place before we allow them to pull their building permit. Rather than delaying them a month, I'm asking for authority to, essentially the Board of Public Works to agree to signing that road impact fee payment agreement when we have that documentation in place. That will allow them to pull their building permits a little bit quicker. No need to hold them up over a month for another Board of Public Works meeting is my thought process there.
Very good. Any questions, Mr. Ray?
No, sir.
All right, let's call for a motion.
I move that we approve action item number 6, Chatham Multifamily Road Impact Fee Payment Agreement Signing Authority.
I will second. Call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 2-0, approved. Number 7, the price proposals for the new public safety building. Who is going to address this for us? Mr. Gaylor.
There we go. Good afternoon. So here we're going to talk about the public safety building project. We actually started this process in July of 2019. Today we're here to look at some scoring and some proposal packets, and actually Chief Reed's picking them up. They were sent to City Services, so he's on his way back with that. So Jeremy will bring up Station 81 procurement process summary. We've been working with CRIPE, specifically Eric Beeman and his team. They're here just to talk about kind of the timeline, how we ended up where we're at today. We've sent out some requests for qualifications and requests for proposals. We actually sat down as a committee and recently scored those as far as their interview process, and then part of that scoring is the supplement that they sent the chiefs bringing back to come up with the total score. So basically 3 standards or 3 criterias that they were evaluated on: design, build entities, team qualifications, where we looked at the key staff management as well as projects that they've completed, contractor engagement, local participation, things like that. Design, build entities, past performance, their ability to perform the project that we're talking about, which is the relocation of Station 81, the fire headquarters, and the admin. And then the third area was the entity's approach to the project, overall project management controls, design to target budget management, guidance and ownership, engagement and making trade-off decisions, quality management, and then schedule management. The document you see on the screen talks about the timeline and how we ended up to where we're at. And Jeremy, if you would go to the next document. Of the 3 initial construction companies that submitted qualifications for the project, one of them did not feel that they were going to be able to complete the task, so they removed themselves from the process. So we were dropped down to 2 construction companies, Hagerman and Performance Services. And as you're looking here, you can see that the Technical Review Committee scored them based on each of the three primary areas. An average of the score was given. The question had a total score, and then we ended up with a composite score there at the bottom. You see Hagerman at 192.80, Performance Services at 161.60. And then what we'll do is we'll take the price proposals, they'll go into the formula to calculate the best value for the project. So at this point right now, we're waiting on those documents so you folks can open them and review. Entertain any questions, and if I can't, I'm going to pass them off to Eric.
Well, this type of construction activity is defined as what? Design?
So it's design, bid, build.
Okay.
And there's a newer term, progressive design, bid, build with the process. And part of our team and some of the outside supplemental people to help design the actual design, bid, build process for the state of Indiana. So that's definitely makes the process more fluid and a whole lot easier for us that don't do it every day to understand the ins and outs of the legislation. So that was nice. Any other questions?
Straight?
No.
All right, well, why don't we table this until
Okay.
Chief gets back, and we'll continue to, I hear
I
a
just heard
squeaky
the door.
door as so. Let's table this then, and we'll,
Very good.
so. Where are we at on this? We're waiting for the price proposals. Would you have them with you, sir?
Yes, we do.
Okay. This is from Hagerman, RQAW team, Progressive Design Build Team. Hagerman, RQAW Progressive Design Build Team, and their price proposal is $12,800,000 that they affirm it can complete the project. At that number, $12,800,000. The second proposal is from Performance Services. their price proposal to affirm it can complete the project at a price of $12,800,000. $12,800,000. So, gentlemen, what does that tell us?
So at this point, this is where we get to plug the prices into the algorithm that takes, based on their scoring, their composite score, which you see on the screen, their price proposal, as it goes into the algorithm, the best value, we have Hagerman at 66,390, Performance Services at 79,208. So our recommendation is Hagerman is the best price performance as well as best value overall. Hagerman should be awarded the design bid build project for Station 81. That's our recommendation to the board.
Okay, and
Thank you.
Cripe, you, people have any comments on this?
No comments from myself. Thank you. Actually, I apologize. I do want to make a quick comment that was listed in the summary. My name is Eric Beeman with Cripe Architects. I'm the design criteria developer. During the scoring procedures last week, there was a member of the TRC who had a travel conflict who couldn't make the interviews. So we had a advisor to the TRC that was appointed by the board who filled in the seat of the TRC member. Her name is Jennifer Lash. She's with Cripe Architects also. She's the site design and civil criteria developer. So we made a note in the summary that a movement be made that Jennifer supersede Doug's position on the TRC board so that way her votes within the composite score are validated.
Okay. Any comments on the proposals we just opened? Okay, are you looking then for a affirmation from us to proceed with your recommendation, Chief Gaylor?
Yes, that is correct. Our request is award the design bid project to the best value proposer, in this case, which is Hagerman and RQAW.
Okay. Mr. Rake, do you have any further questions?
No, sir.
It's not every day we build a new fire station,
No, it's not every day, but
but it's your second one, so that's good.
yeah, you've been through this before and you've done a good job of analyzing the data and I respect your recommendation.
I would entertain a motion.
I recommend that we award Hagerman Construction, the public safety building project, based on the price proposals and the scoring of their input here. Action item number 7.
I will second. We'll call for a vote. All in favor of this award? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Congratulations to our fire people for bringing this through. Thank you, Cripe.
Thank you for all the work that went into this, gentlemen and ladies.
Okay, back to Jonathan Nail. A couple of encroachments by Duke Energy, huh?
Yep, and this should be fairly quick. I'm filling in for Adam Essex, who's tending to a sinkhole issue on Union you may have driven by on the way here, actually. So he's making sure that gets taken care of, so I'm covering the encroachment permit section today. There's two from Duke. One is on Roosevelt. That parking lot that the cursor's on right now was recently paved and is in the process of being paved, I should say, and as a result, Duke does need to relocate one of the existing overhead power poles. They're at the back of the right-of-way where they really can be. I have no safety concerns given the speed of the roadway. It seems like a logical place to relocate. I would ask that you approve this encroachment permit.
Okay, questions?
No, sir.
Motion.
Make a motion to approve action number, item 8, encroachment application, Duke Energy, 211 College Avenue.
Second, call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Second one, please, Mr. Neal.
Yeah, so on the northeast corner of 161st and Union, as you guys are aware, we have a roundabout project that is bidding in August for that. There is a power pole there on the northeast corner that, actually two power poles that are impacted by the roundabout, proposed roundabout design. Those poles are being relocated a little bit further to the north to get out of the pavement limits, again, along the right-of-way line in a logical spot. We have reviewed their work plan. Both our engineering consultant for 161st and Union and City of Westfield staff have reviewed their work plan and agree that it is in accordance with what we'd expect to see. So I would ask that you approve this encroachment permit as well so that they can get out there and relocate and clear the way for construction of that roundabout.
Very good. Questions?
No, sir.
Call for a motion.
I move to approve action item under, item number 9, encroachment application, Duke Energy at 1707 East 161st Street, and at 161st Street and Union Street roundabout.
I will second. Call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And we have a resolution 21-122, and this is here, Mr. Bertrand, because it is a contract. It's a little out of our normal scope. This has to do with opioid class action settlement suits.
Yeah, this matter before you as a contracting body of the city is relative to a national opioid litigation that we entered into with a much larger class of folks, entities, units of government prior to January 2020, as it addresses the dispensing of opioids and causing the social crisis that I think most of us are well aware of. Recent conditions within that litigation has created this need and this encouragement by the consortium that's representing us in this class, other units of government as well, to advise us to opt out. There are some negotiations between some of the dispensers and the Attorney General that some monies would not flow to the city or local units, and this would allow us to negotiate through the consortium with those dispensers for the damages that we've incurred pursuant to the terms and conditions of the litigation. We can enter back in, but this mechanism allows us to opt out, and we are strongly encouraged by the opioid or the consortium of legal advisors representing many cities and towns across the country. Here's a letter that we attach to this, just so it follows and can give greater context as to why we're being encouraged and you're being asked to adopt this resolution to opt out.
And that letter is from whom?
This letter is from the consortium. It is marked attorney-client privilege, so I shouldn't wave it around too grossly. But it is from signed by Papatino, Rafferty, Proctor, Buchanan, and several other names thereafter.
Yes, and I read that earlier today, and certainly between that and our legal counsel, sounds like the right thing to do here. Jeremy, anything?
Nope, I was just letting you know that the group of attorneys is listed in the opt-out portion, the opt-out notice, and they are those folks. So that's who's representing us.
Okay, Mr. Hake, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, let's call for a motion on this resolution to opt out of this suit.
Move to approve the resolution to opt out, 21-122.
Second, call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are out.
If I may, Mr. President, relative to the fire station project, just touch briefly on the financing of that project. It will be funded under the statute for building corporations. We have a building corporation formed. The current public safety building was funded under that statute. We will, again, the Building Corp has been reestablished. We have undertaken the necessary steps to obtain signatures as a taxpayer petition in support of the project. Those have been delivered, I believe, to the county so far. Those will be verified and thus certified. And we will move this project along with the bond counsel of James Crawford, who you're very familiar with. And that will make its way through, to and through the city council now that we have a number and we know what the tax impact would be otherwise. So just worth noting as you've opened that bid.
So, following our proposed and preferred schedule, with the design, and now we've awarded it, financing must be dealt through, but you would prefer to begin construction on this project when?
We'd have monies available ideally by September, October, then whatever the construction schedule allows. It'll be every bit of a year build time on the project. Once we get occupied there, we'll remove the fire department operations from the current facility, and then we'll begin the process of the renovation of the existing facility and convert that completely to the police department.
Very good. Badly needed. It's been a great building, but it's far exceeded its use. 365 days, 24 hours a day type of usage, so. And that is the loudest air handler I think I've ever heard. I can hear it at my house. Very good. Good project. Consent agenda.
So this is just our typical monthly bond acceptance and release list for our performance and maintenance bonds associated with private development. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Very good. You're fine with it,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Director? All right. Any questions, Jim?
No, I'm fine.
Entertain a motion?
Move to approve the June bond list as stated.
I'll second. Call for a vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is accepted. A fire report, if we could. I might take this opportunity to announce something I don't really like, but today received the resignation from Chief. Retirement, yes. And we'll talk a lot more about this later, sir, but I regretfully accept your retirement. You have served us so very, very well. And I know you're, with Laura being employed in New York, I see what your plan was now. It was Oregon, Indiana, and now New York. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the plan, but always subject to change, based on what Laura wants.
So-
We don't really have, we don't have a report today. We obviously want to thank you for helping us get through this process and getting us on the way with the new fire station. As you noted, significantly needed. We've outgrown that space significantly, and it really, I would just say, with having to go through the COVID pandemic, really exacerbated the issue.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for that.
Well, I know the new designs of our buildings will take that into consideration forever, I suppose, going forward. So I guess we'll be like the Indianapolis airport, sadly, after 9/11, one of the first new buildings as a result of something that we'll always live with. So,
That's correct. This
right.
project did get bigger in scope because of
great.
that.
Well, thank you for making us well aware we need to do it. And thank you, I know, to Chief Gaylor and his people for all their work behind this. And we'll proudly see it to its building. And perhaps you would come back and see us at that time.
I would love that.
Okay. Thank you. Chief Rush.
Why'd we shut it off? So I'll give you a little update on staffing. We're currently sitting at 64 officers. The last hire was approved by this board was Dakota Foot. And he is onboarding right now, and we'll start FTO here within the next week or so. That puts us at 64. Unfortunately, we lost, we had an officer resign, Andrew Burnett. He's not going to some other department. He's helping his wife with a family business. So we wish him all the luck in the future. But that puts us back down to 63. So we'll be coming to this board here within the next month or two, probably with some more names for you. Our recruiting team is currently working through some lateral applicants. And we'll have some names for you soon on that one. We're like all the other departments within this city. We're ramping up for Colts Camp, July 4th event. And other than that, it's just business as usual, so. That's all I
Okay,
got.
very good. Any questions, Mr. Ray?
No,
No.
thank you, Chief.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Joel. And I don't suppose you have anything to report? Public Works, there's no activity around town.
We do have a few things going on around the city. We are right in the middle of our summer maintenance program, so you'll see our crack seal efforts well underway throughout.
They're well underway.
Well underway. The pavement preservation contract is underway as well, so that is our sealing product that we have been doing for a number of years now. Mill and resurface will begin here in the coming weeks, and that will, once we get that all done, we can stripe the roads and get rid of the ugly lines that I know the mayor's not very happy about.
You don't have another color you can do that, as we had?
We
We
do
had a
not-
subdivision
oh,
once
my.
ask us if we had other colors we could use besides black.
As much as we'd like to, we don't. Oil comes mostly in black. And so we'll keep that up. From a construction perspective, Grand Junction is going very, very well. We're still on track for opening in December of this year. The roundabout construction at 171st and Cary, albeit inconvenient, is going very well also, with a target opening date of the end of July. And then our East Street project is almost half complete. So here in the next few weeks, we will be opening the north leg. So that includes a realignment of Anthony Road at 38 with a signal. And then all of our new businesses out there will be able to access their buildings from the north. Then we switch to the south, and we'll be wrapping that up in total later this year. And there's lots of development and private development and other things going on, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Mr. Hay,
No questions, thank you for all you do.
are we still on target to improve the 32-wheeler?
Yes, John
Yes.
will tell you that's going to start in a couple weeks.
Really? Because you bid it a long time ago. Isn't that right?
We did. We bid it last year, actually, and that contractor we are coordinating with right now, schedule-wise, and any kind of escalation that may come from that year delay. So we will get that constructed yet this year.
So, afraid to ask, but how will you be maintaining traffic there?
We are widening and maintaining traffic through a phased construction approach. So we'll be widening to the west as needed, maintaining traffic on existing pavement, and then we can switch over to the newly paved section with existing traffic and finish out the rest of that construction.
And how far north does that go?
Couple 100 feet north of Tournament Trail, enough to get a turn lane in at the new signal at Tournament Trail and Wheeler.
And fix the pond drainage right there?
That is not, the pond drainage is not in the scope of the project, but there are dual left turns onto 32, which I have heard from a couple people recently is going to be a major improvement for Grand Park traffic leaving the park.
Okay. Very good, thanks. And I see you're doing some, I don't know what you call it, deep cutting and patching of some areas
Yeah, as a
throughout
part
the
of,
city?
part of our.
Are you doing that yourself?
Both. We are doing some internally, and then there's some extensive patching as a part of the resurfacing contract. But yes, our staff is out removing, milling, doing some things, smaller scope stuff
Yeah.
throughout the city.
Well, there's a number of them you have done, and the stiff suspension of Yellow Jeep says they're doing a good job on it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right,
You're good.
don't know that we have any other items, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.